Welcome to the Leafy podcast, helping real estate investors and entrepreneurs grow. Say hello to your hosts, Jennifer Guarin and Brian Price, founders of Leafy Legal Services, teaching you how to protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth. Let's start the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leafy Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm Tammy, the podcast manager for Leafy Podcast. And with me on the line today, I have our two amazing hosts. We have Brian and Jennifer, the CEO and COO of Leafy Legal Services. And they have another awesome guest with us today. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to them so we can get started. Jennifer?
Okay, so everybody needs to talk to the person that we have on today, because our person today is a stress management coach, a life coach, speaker, workshop facilitator, and the author of the book, Crush Stress While You Work. I don't know, my lips aren't going today. Anyway, she's absolutely amazing. She's been on a lot of various TV shows, podcasts. You've probably already heard of her. And you can go to beamazingyou.com. But right now, you're here with us on Leafy Podcast, and we are going to be speaking with Lolita Guarin. Hello, Lolita. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Hey, Lolita. Well, yeah, it's so great. And I was looking through a lot of your stuff on your site, and it's you have a pretty interesting story. I mean, you came over here, and you've gone through a lot. So why, if people haven't heard from you, why don't you give us a little bit of background of where you came from, and then we'll dive straight into all of the stress stuff that you do, relief stuff that you do to help people in the workplace.
Well, so as you can tell, I'm not from Texas. And I came from Lithuania 20 years ago, and I cannot believe it's already been 20 years. Time is flying by so fast. And when I came here, I realized that is the land of possibilities, and I wanted to prove to myself and others that I can achieve my American dream. So, like any other immigrant or anyone in this country who wants to achieve something, going to work extra hours. And I was working overtime, no weekends for me, any rest. And I had very bad nutrition. Obviously, my lunches were like Hot Pockets and something microwavable and donuts and whatever I can find in the break room. And since I was working 60, hours a week, I barely had any time to exercise whatsoever. I will come back late and just collapse in the bed. And I was thinking, wow, I'm young, I can do this, let's do this, until one day it's just all of the stress that I was not taking care of my body. And also I had so much work. I was afraid to tell my supervisor, no, I cannot do this project anymore. I have so much to do. And it's just all piled up on me that one day I just collapsed and was, rushed to emergency room because my body just, look, you cannot do this anymore, you need to stop. And I learned that because it was stress, I didn't want to use any pills because there's so many pills for everything. I'm like, well, stress is such a very natural thing, and there's no way that we'll get rid of stress ever. That just comes with life. And you have to find the natural ways how to manage stress. And that's what they did. And I find that stress management doesn't really have to be so stressful. You can do a few things here and there, and you can live a very fulfilling life, and you don't have to collapse at the end of it.
Wow, that's just like, okay, so you're there in the emergency room and you're like, okay, so what's the matter? Because, when we're young, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. I have some terrible disease or something. You don't even, it never even crosses your mind when you're young that stress has the ability to kill us. And it does. Toxic stress can mess everything up in our system. It can delay things. It can change your metabolism. It can cause heart attacks and all this stuff like that. So when they told you, well, this is probably stress, did you fight them at all? Did you say, no, I'm young, I can handle it? Did you say that, or did you just believe them? I'm curious.
Of course I thought that that's just no way, because I'm like, how could this be? I'm young, like you said, I should be just go. And when they start talking about, well, you can maybe try some pills, and I'm thinking, well, I don't want to get something and then I feel that I'm walking zombie. I still be,
right.
I be able to function. I need to go back to work. I need to be productive. And I don't want to be numb or like just sleepy all the time or whatever it is. And I'm like, it has to be some natural ways, and there's plenty of them.
Yeah. So how did you go through the process of finding these natural ways to combating stress?
So I got my hands on anything possible on stress management. And as you know, if you're looking for something, you'll find. So there are plenty of, I went to workshops, I read books, webinars, anything I can find online. And I mean, we live in technology times, you can get anything if you want to. And then I started really applying to my life. And, like simple breathing, for example, is like, such a small thing, and we all breathe in, breathe out. I was like, well, maybe I really need to start breathing deeply and take time to do that and really apply it instead of saying, this is so simple, it's not going to work for me. I was so surprised that there's so many little things that we take for granted and we think that's not going to work. But when I start applying them, and I did a lot of things that I tried to manage my time, or saying no to things, to projects, to people, and then just getting better nutrition, exercising, and all of those little things really like kind of come into a puzzle. And we talk a lot about nutrition and about exercising. When I'm also a speaker, I go to companies and do lunch and learns and workshops. And it's very popular right now of having a wellness programs. So they all, bring in some nutritionists to talk about, they bring some coach who tells you what exercises you need to do and how often, but they somehow just always skip, just totally ignore the mental state. Right now when we all sitting and, going through all of this pandemic, it's now we start thinking, wow, I really need to take care of my mental state. And I think there are some things that impact your body and, make you stressed that outside of you that has to do with nutrition and body. But a lot of our stress, I believe, it really comes through your mind. Is what, how are you, your thoughts are, how do you take things too seriously, or you just bring more work onto yourself because you cannot say no, or you're a people pleaser, or you just go gather that just even feel ashamed to taking a simple break. I think there's a lot of guilt in our society of thinking if you're going to take care of yourself, then you're so selfish. Like you shouldn't do this to yourself. You should just forget about yourself and take care of those that you love. And I always say, and I have clients who come to me and be like, I don't know how I will do this because I don't have time for this. And I always say, okay, so you have no time because you take care of those that you love now. What will happen to them when you're in the hospital and it's already too late for you to take care of yourself? Who is going to take care of them then? So start thinking ahead of time. It's like, when you take a flight, the flight attendant says you need to put the mask on yourself first, and then they help the person next to you.
I was just telling Tammy that earlier. I was like, you always take care of the pilot first, because if you don't take care of the pilot, then he's walking around handing face masks and the whole plane crashes and everyone dies. So you have to take care of yourself first. I mean, we literally were just talking about this earlier today. I mean, I absolutely agree. And I think there is a lot of not only guilt and shame, and it's weird because you have people that like you that are out there saying, no, self-care is important. You have to stop, whether it's meditating, whether it's a walk around the block, whether it's not doing anything but reading that book that you've put off. There are times you need to take for you that's very important for your health and your mind and your body. And everyone, if you talk to anyone individually and you said, do you feel that's important for someone? And you can have self-growth. Maybe that book will be about work or give you an idea, but do you feel that these things are important? Yes. Do you do these things? And then their eyes just kind of go up. And they look at you like a deer in the headlights. Well, no, because on the back end, there's shame and guilt. And am I not doing enough? Or am I lazy? Or like some people will actually feel guilt because the book they're reading is some trashy novel. And it isn't about work. It isn't about learning a new language. It has nothing to do with self-improvement. It has everything to do to finding out if this Scottish lord marries this young woman or something stupid like that. And, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to be able to have a little bit of both. And I just wanted to add something there. You talked about breathing, number one. I had an experience with panic attacks when I was very young. And I had a very traumatic young teen years. And I am the type of person that if the zombies come, you want to come to my house. I will be cool and collected. When I panic is when things go right, because I was used to growing up in chaos and I was used to growing up in terrible situations. And so my life started going right because I forged it going right in my 20s. And I was just driving in the car and I had to pull over, and I got down on my hands and knees and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was going to die right then and there. And I'm on the side of the road on my hands and knees like an idiot, trying to catch my breath. And in reality, I was hyperventilating. And of course, they tried to put me on Paxil. They tried to, which was so terrible. I had a terrible experience with that. That lasted about 2 weeks. And then I read a book about breathing. And I thought, well, this is stupid. I'm actually breathing too much. And so I stopped myself, and my exercise was I would take a deep breath. And when I let the breath go out, and this sounds so dumb, y'all, but I still do it to this day. And I've controlled it for a long time now, even though sometimes things go well and I'll get it. But I think about all of the alveoli in my lungs filling up and all the molecules in them. And I think about what that looks like in one of those cartoony ways and how it goes out of my system and out. And I just focus on that cartoon visual as I'm doing it, and it calms me down. And I haven't needed any SSRIs or medication because of that. And I had them in a debilitating way for several months, and nobody could figure it out. I actually thought I was being poisoned by Scotchgard at one point, because it happened right as I had bought a new living room set, and it had a little chemical smell on it. So I was convinced when the doctor says, I think you're very stressed out. I think you are having panic attacks. I said, no, not me. I would never have a panic attack because I can handle anything. It's the Scotchgard. And there I was. And when I got out of the chair, because I was in the emergency room, and they're talking to me, and they put me into an egg chair, those plastic hard chairs. When I got up, it was filled with water. And I looked at them and I said, I didn't just pee myself, that's sweat. And that is how bad it was at that time. So I can attest that your body, I mean, it freaks you out that you can think things and be so stressed out, you can actually cause physical reactions. So anyway, so listen to Lolita now, people. she's on to something. Anyway, continue on with, I'm sure Brian has a question through all this. So go, Brian.
Let's go into your book, Crush Stress While You're at Work. Let's talk about that and what does the book go over? How does it help people? And I'm interested in hearing more. Obviously, it's on Amazon. We'll have the link down below so you can all order it.
So this book was born out of my conversations with my clients. So when I start one-on-one session, we always go through the questionnaire to see, where the stress is coming from, what is our goal, and then we have a plan, what the stress management tips and techniques we will, we'll try out. And I noticed that I continuously was repeating myself and to different clients, and I realized I'm just, wasting my time. And more than that, it will be very good for them to have this as a reference. So then I just compiled all my tips and, techniques that I had at that time, which I have more now, we all know. And I decided to publish the book. And what I like about this book is that I do not talk about how bad stress is for you. We all know this, I just go right directly to tips and techniques that you can try. And it's very simple read. You just go by different chapters that you want, or you just can open any page and, it will be probably only one page to read, that one tip, an example that's very easy to do. None of them take hours to do it. It's like within a few minutes, you can try out something and can find the relief. So this book is really good for everyone who has just, like some books that say, I can want something, I need trying something new. Just grab it, pick one thing one day, another day pick up another tip, and find your ways, what works for you.
Yeah. So what's one thing that maybe you've found that works that maybe not be the normal things that maybe someone's heard?
Well, there are different things work vary for different people. I know I can go for hours, but let's just say introverts and extroverts. Let's just let's say here. And right now in the situation that many of us are sitting at home and by yourself or with your family. And if you are an introvert, you're very happy because now you don't have to deal with all of your coworkers and you don't have to deal with your clients, and you just can make a call and you're done with that. You don't need to go anywhere because you're comfortable at home. But if you're an extrovert and you need that social impact, you need to bounce your ideas from somebody, you need to have a physical touch, then you're stressing out because that's out of your normal. So it really depends on the situation. It depends on the person.
Oh, okay.
Can I ask you one question? Have you ever, in the book, does it ever talk about a technique called tapping, or have you ever tried that? Or, you know, where you tap and then you do that? I don't know.
I do not go in the detail about tapping in this book because it's just so much written, and there's like the whole website tappingsolutions.com that they do that and they teach you how to do that. But I do have practiced this and I recommend this to my clients, and it definitely works. And I think works for two reasons, because one, as we know, our thoughts just run like crazy trains. If you let it go, it's just gonna go on and it's very hard to stop. And also what you resist persists. So it's very good to get that thing in front of you and not be afraid of it. And then the physical touch, obviously, it always helps, because just remember how kids love running for a hug when they feel uncomfortable. So any touching of the body always helps. And if you really tapping to the right spots would really help, like, you know, acupuncture works, I think it just helps in many ways. And I do that myself and I recommend that to clients.
Okay, I know that's one of the things that I've read about, and I thought I saw it somewhere on your site, so I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. So what's coming up for you now? So you've written the book, you do all of your coaching, and do you also do events? Because you're a speaker as well. So now that the live events are kind of on stagnation, I mean, they'll be opening back up soon, but what's up with you now? Like, besides going to your website, are there any other ways people can find out about these techniques from you?
So I created a few weeks back the online course. I have few online courses, by the way, and you can find them on my going through my website. But one I created that is just specifically how to manage stress during lockdown. That, you know, you have some stress while we're in this situation, so how you can do that. So that's the newest online program. And obviously I had plenty of speaking engagements that got canceled because now we cannot go to people, and I talk a lot in the companies as a lunch and learn, and many of them now going through the shrinking process and everybody's freezing. So, but I already have in works a webinar that I think I'll be doing it online. And so as soon that will get together, I will post all the links on my website.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Great.
And the guys, her website, just so you'll know, we're speaking with Lolita Guarin, and you can go to www.beamazingyou.com. So that's really easy to remember, beamazingyou.com. And of course, we have all the links to her book and to beamazingyou.com and everything else. So before we go, can you give anyone, for people who are starting to get really fatigued, like where I live in the country, we're pretty much opening back up, if not opened back up. And things have been going well. Our cases are actually down, even though we've been almost open back up for like 3 weeks. So that's good here. That's not the same as other places in the country. Some people are getting hit a lot harder. They have a lot more population density and it's not controlled as well. So for those people who are looking at lengthier lockdowns, do you have any tips for them? Other than to, of course, you want to go to beamazingyou.com and look at her information. She has a course on there specifically for this, but any like words of wisdom you can get people to get them through this final push.
Well, first, I think we all need to count our blessings and see the silver lining, because there are some, you know, I was just reading a 600-page book because I thought, you know, maybe it's a good time for me to actually finally read it. Was Dumas' Three Musketeers. and so find that silver lining. What is that you can do now that otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it? Also, I recommend finding your strengths. And many of us go through the life having plenty of those emergency pandemics, seriously. You know, you have opening a business, or you have closing business, or you started a relationship or something, somebody got sick. We all in our lives have some ways that we went through our own pandemic. So I'm recommending you get a piece of paper and write it down, all of those times that you think like the worst will happen, but actually didn't
Good
happen.
one.
Or you think, you know, I had this divorce and I thought I'm not going to make it, but I made it through, and look at me now. So, you know, count your victories. And then when you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't think, you know, my life will be over now, or I'm unemployed now, how this is going to happen. Always look at that list and remind yourself that you went through this before, and you come out of this and you're in a better place than you were, and you're doing the best that you can in the situation. And then also I recommend, think about something, have yourself a goal, and every day do that one little step that makes you move closer to that goal. So that way you don't feel like your days are just wasted. You know, it's like every day is the same thing and over. Instead, have a goal, and one step at a time, you actually will achieve something, like reading a book or writing a book or anything, you know, just reading something very nice for you just because you like something, or taking a bath, something, pampering yourself, 10, 15 minutes, doesn't have to be that long. Also recommend to think, when all of this is over, what we will do? You know, have yourself a little treat at the end of it. And, you know, make a plan. Are you going to see a friend? You're going to buy yourself something. So there's something to look forward to, so you don't feel like, you know, this is really bad. Also reach out to others. And if you feel like you have a friend or someone that would like to hear from you, reach out first and ask them, do others need your help? Because when we give, we feel so much better.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. I think, yeah, being grateful for what you've done before, or at least know you've been through it before, and then being grateful what you have, and then, yeah, looking toward the future, what you're going to get in the future, I think are all great suggestions for people. And, you know, especially during this time or any time. I mean, everybody has stress every day. And
yeah, I think that was amazing.
Yeah.
That really
Yeah.
resonated with me. In fact, I know someone right now who is in a travel hospitality thing, and they just told me this one person was let go, and they were like an icon in this industry. And they're like, if they're letting go people like that, what if I can't get back to normal? And they've been a little bit depressed. And I know that that's happened with other people. And I said, well, you know, maybe we'll do something together, or maybe we can create something new, right? But I think what you said is that idea of, this person has been through things in their life, they've gotten through that, we're going to get through this. But sometimes you have to remind yourself of that. And I read a book once that said, if you ever have a medal or something that you've won, take it out of the drawer and put it somewhere where you see it. So there was a time where I didn't feel so great about myself because I had gained a bunch of weight and I had been running before and doing stuff. And I had done a marathon, and I have this little medal. I came in first place. I was like the only person in my category, but I came in first place, right? So I took that medal out, and it's hanging in my bedroom on one of my curtain rods, just on the edge. And every now and then I look at that and I go, yeah, there is still an athlete somewhere inside me, and it's still there, you know, and I can do things, even things I thought that were impossible. So it doesn't even matter, right? For me, that was my little Olympics, because I overcame stuff to do that. So those are very, very great ideas. Lolita, we could talk to you for a long time. And I think everybody needed to hear at least one or two tidbits from this. So thank you so much for being on our show. And but it looks like we're getting to the end of our time. So Tammy, you have to take us away.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Lolita, for being here as our guest today. And Brian and Jennifer, thank you so much for hosting again. And if you would like to leave us a comment, you can find us on iTunes or any other platform that has podcasting. We are at Leafy Legal. And also on social media, we would love to hear from you. And if you would like to make a suggestion for a guest or anything else you would like to talk about for the show, you can email me. I am at Tammy, Tammy, at leafylegalservices.com. And I will have all of Lolita's information and links in the show notes so that you can go ahead and find her and leave her comments as well. And I apologize that my cat Bartleby is walking back behind me in the screen. So
I was watching it. It was like he was stalking something.
Snuck in without me looking. But thank you so much, everyone, for being here today, and have a wonderful Leafy day. We will looking forward to seeing you next time. So bye for now.
Attention real estate investors and entrepreneurs. Did you know that real estate investors are a primary target for lawsuits? According to the National Survey of the Court data, 25% of Americans risk being sued in their lifetime. However, if you are a real estate investor, you have a 95% chance of being sued in the next 20 years. Leafy Legal Services helps you protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. Leafy Legal Services are experts at the Series LLC and Delaware Statutory Trust, two of the newest and most ideal legal structures for real estate investors. Leafy Legal Services have the most personalized and affordable solutions for setting up LLCs. Property owners are always at risk when it comes to their assets. Anonymity is so important. If you own just a rental house and you own your home, you have to protect yourself and your properties from any potential legal issues. Leafy Legal Services have the right solutions to make sure you are happy and feel secure. They offer cost-effective documentation that suits their clients' needs. For a free consultation and ebook, visit leafylegalservices.com. They are waiting to hear from you. leafylegalservices.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Don't wait. Take action now. LeafyLegalServices.com. Protect your assets, grow your business, and manage your wealth.